On this episode of ResiWeek, we cover CES 2021 and 2020 and Just Add Power at Dante. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 259, Bleepin Bleep.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by
Blackwire Designs, the go-to distributor for the CI industry with an extensive product lineup backed by unmatched sales and system support. Anytime dealers need it, even after hours or on the weekend.
Welcome to this episode of ResiWeek. This is your weekly roundup of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matthew Scott for AVNation.tv. This is our first recorded live show of 2021. And don't laugh, Heather. It is what it is. And I'm very excited because we have kind of like my brother and my sister of the biz in on this show. It's going to be fun. First of all, we have Heather Sidorowicz. She is the president of Southtown AV and a very happy Bills fan today. How you doing,
Yes,
Heather?
she is. I think that we should take the whole podcast and discuss about how great my team is.
I have loved watching Alan mature really quickly. It's been a blast.
Amazing. I mean, so 25 years we've waited for this. Poor guy has the whole weight of the entire city on his shoulders.
He seems to handle it pretty well, though.
He does. He's been great in prime time. Very exciting.
They're doing really well. They're having a lot of fun. And as a minor side note, what they did for Lamar Jackson's, if you missed the game, and we'll get into tech in a sec, but if you missed the game, he got knocked out, I think, in the third quarter.
He did. He got a concussion, so he was taken off the field. It wasn't a crazy hit. It wasn't,
no, it wasn't bad.
Mean players.
It was just an unfortunate, fall backward situation. But as of this morning, Monday morning, the Bills Mafia, if you will, has already raised something like $300,000+ for his charity that he runs, which is I don't think I've ever seen that in football where something like that happened and another team responded kind of like that. But it's been really, really cool to watch.
That's how we roll. We've seen gruff, because we have to handle that cold weather, but. Yeah, but Buffalo's good people. Good people.
Well, you're there, so that's how we gauge the whole city now.
That's right.
Next, we have my brother who's somewhat ignoring me today for reasons I do not understand because I'm a gem. That is Stephen Brodner. He is the owner of Pro Audio Georgia. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm out freaking standing. It's a beautiful day here in Georgia. I have finished my battle with COVID. Trying to
Georgia, you had COVID?
Yeah, girl.
And you lived. I thought everybody dies.
Everyone does.
I'm trying to get my lungs healed up, but other than that, everything is out freaking standing.
Should I have a mask on?
And just for the record, next time you think it's bad being a Bills fan waiting 25 years, just think of all those poor Georgia fans that have waited over 40.
I was going to bring that up. But I didn't want to rub salt in it.
Let me go back though, Georgia. We've been to the Super Bowl 4 times and we've lost.
You lost twice in a row to the Cowboys, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Hey, Bills.
Longer than 25 years.
You know what Bill stands for? Boy, I like losing Super Bowls.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Not this year. Let's go. All right. Let's kick this off because as Heather alluded to, we could probably talk about that all day long. But if you missed it somehow last week, was CES. So we're going to kick the show off with a little bit of CES coverage. As I said, if you missed it, it was actually kind of easy to do. It was not dominating the press cycles like it normally does. It wasn't
not even social media.
No, it wasn't really on social. It definitely wasn't on broadcast news very much. Normally, even our local TV station will cut in on the 6 o'clock news every day to talk about what was debuted at CES. And they didn't even mention it. Now, there was some other stuff going on around the world, so that might have been part of it. But there were a couple of things that happened at CES. mainly the things that you would expect. There were some new TVs that were brought up by Samsung and LG, and Sony had some stuff. Samsung brought a whole whack of new phones and some other goodies there. There was quite a few things, but it wasn't the predominant, headline grabbing typical expectation that CES is. Heather, I want to start with you in this, and rather than necessarily dig into what was announced, what wasn't announced, etc. This was obviously a virtual show. This was obviously a large change to what normally CES looks like. Now, we saw a fair amount of reports of people who normally would not really even follow CES because they had access. They attended some sessions. They listened to some keynotes. I saw a couple of the keynotes, and some of them were really, really good. Some of them were okay. My favorite part was the majority of them were 30 minutes. Which
that was the greatest part. That should always be 30
minutes. But this was really, dare I say, just kind of a meh year. It was minor advancements, minor changes, things that are, ooh, cool. You're doing things with quantum that you've bemoaned for years, but now you're going to do it because it's cool. Is this year going to be just kind of a blip in CES, or is this possibly going to change the way CES addresses CES?
Excellent question. I think that virtual conferences just aren't there. You can't, it's just not the same. I haven't attended one that I've walked away from thinking, wow. So I think there's work to do. I think that this year is probably a blip, and I'm sure they're hoping that they can just round right back in 2022. But I think that the most important takeaway is that there will have to be some kind of hybrid, and we have to reinvent not just the product, but the way that conferences work, the way that we show off those products. A 30-minute presentation is good. It's good because it's shorter, and they could throw in videos in there, and they were pre-recorded, but it's not the same as standing up there and seeing it for the first time, having it work, or even better yet, having it not work. I don't think it's funny where CES is always that one show that everybody knows, right? When you say, hey, I'm in AV, they're like, oh, you know CES? So yeah, I think it will be back. I hope that it takes this time out to a bit reinvent.
I like that. One just before we move on to Stephen, one of the things that I was curious with was your take on, do you think it was a speed bump year because it was a speed bump year, or because the pandemic changed manufacturing and R&D for so many companies?
I think it pivoted too. So I think I think it's a speed bump year. And I think it's pandemic due, but I also think it changed things. So either people had to stop the R&D they were doing if they weren't set up to go hybrid or remote. And also it changed focus. So where we may have been coming up with technologies that are getting all these people in a room, all of a sudden now we need to bring something like a stupid flushable toilet hands-free. It's like, it don't need a hands-free flushable toilet because I should watch my Bleep hands.
What she's saying is wash your hands. And I feel like they've had automatic toilets for a while now.
They have.
I missed something there.
But they bring it back, right? So they can say, oh, look, the faucet that you don't need your hands for either.
Yeah. Interesting. Fun times. Stephen, let me come to you. You followed this a fair amount. You obviously saw the same TV announcements that I saw. You saw the projector that's got AirPlay. Again, the typical things. Was there something in there in the show that you saw that made you go, oh, that's really, really cool. I can't wait to get hands-on, see it, or I can't wait to see it fail?
Almost everything that was shown looked like garbage to me. I have.
Tell me how you feel.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
Would you stop sugarcoating? Gosh darn it.
So they had to come out with something, and I get it. R&D is short. People are out of work. You can't get parts. All these things. I get it. So what do? They come out with a bunch of half-developed garbage. You go to Wired magazine and look through their top 75 or 80 things they found at CES, and you will come to the same conclusion I did, which is last year there were a lot of very bored engineers. So here's two things that I saw that I thought were very cool. Neither one of them have anything to do with AV. Thing number one, LG, they got my heart, man. They heard my soul cry out. They have a new fridge that makes ice cubes, ice pellets, and ice spheres for us whiskey guys. Hell yeah! So let's just that was people cheering in the background. I know you couldn't hear that. So no. So we got whiskey spheres coming straight out of the LG ice maker. Me love you long time. Oh my God. Second thing that was kind of cool. I don't know if you guys caught this, but Samsung decided to get into the home robot race, and they made what looks virtually like battle tanks for your house. It is so cool. Look it up. It does not look like a little disc that your cat.
Talking about the handy bot that washes the dishes and pours you a glass of wine.
Oh no, not that one. This is like a Roomba, but it looks like a tank.
It's
right.
a tank one.
But the camera's on it.
Yeah, it's got a camera on it for security, and it like sweeps the floors. And the first thing I thought when I saw it was I could put a saw blade on that thing and go on TV and win some awards. It just looks like a battle tank. It really does. So those were two things that I saw that were really cool. A lot of wasted technology, a lot of wasted time. This pandemic, yeah, it's bad. I'm not downplaying the pandemic. I had COVID. I freaking get it. But the other side is it's not going to change our world. We've got a vaccine coming out. Everything in the world doesn't have to be pandemic based. Who was it? Not Turtle Beach, but
so you're not buying the Razer face mask with
Razer
voice amplification?
I didn't want to give them any airtime.
That's what I was going to say. I was just going to bring it up. Razer made a face mask. Hey, get out of here with that garbage. Somebody need that garbage.
Now, when I go to pick up like takeaway food and I can't hear them behind the glass, I wish they were wearing a Razer voice amplifying face mask. Just saying.
See, I'm going to be honest with you, brother. And it's a different world down here in the Southeast.
Yeah, we're locked down. So that's why.
Yeah, and up north where Heather is, everything is locked down, and so down here we have fewer cases than a lot of those places that are completely locked down and everything's open here. I walked into a restaurant today for lunch, went to my table, sat down, never once.
We don't want to talk about it. No. Don't bring that up.
So just so people understand, they're listening to the podcast, that it is different. Our country is separated right now, and in the Southeast, people think it's crazy, but look at the numbers. We're not all locked down and crazy right now.
And things are so crazy that you're now a democratic state.
Don't bring that. Don't start with that. All right, we're gonna transition.
This is where the podcast takes a technical break.
We've got technical difficulties. Error 404, Stephen not found. We're not going there, Heather. I'm having a good day. So anyway, hold
on. Talking about devices and tech that's just ridiculous. The one that caught my eye, which is the only one I'm gonna mention, was, and the headline's what killed me. Afraid of leaving your kid in a hot car.
Oh yeah.
There's a device for that. And you know where that device is? Right here.
Never once did I forget that my kid was in the back seat. My wife's new Highlander has a thing that when you turn the freaking car off, it says, check the back seat.
All right. So we've covered, don't buy that. Don't help that company at all. That's ridiculous. Be better, people. All right. So let's shift topics for a second. As both Heather and Stephen and myself alluded to, there's always a ton of ridiculous tech that's shown. And I don't mean that as the insult it sounds like it is. It's just, there's so much vaporware. There's so much, I was bored and I developed this, and look. Now, what's cool about a lot of this stuff is in its first iteration, it doesn't always play. But that technology a lot of times it evolves and becomes something that's actually beneficial. One of the things I want to do is, and this came to us from The Verge, they looked back on 2020 and what was released in 2020 and talked about what hit and what didn't, which I don't remember seeing too much of this. We always kind of think back and go, oh, remember when that didn't work. It's a really cool article to look at. Stephen, when you look back at 2020 and CES from 2020 and look at that list of stuff that was either a hit or completely ridiculous, is there anything there that stood out and made you say, well, yeah, of course that was a hit, or, well, yeah, of course that failed and fell flat on its face?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I teed you up for that just too well.
Let me tell you, and this is going to hurt some feelings in our industry.
You wanted the segue.
There are people that are forcing this biophilia crap on their customers. But I will tell you, I talked to a lot of integrators, and almost everybody I talked to said that was never going to happen. It's a dumb idea for like 1% of our customers. And just because people in our industry put it in every publication and said it was going to be the next greatest thing, and then left and went on vacation. And then, they pushed it on our industry. And I said from the beginning, this is garbage. It's garbage. People put pool tables in rooms they never touch. People are not going to spend that much money and then and have a room where they go in to listen to crickets chirp and they meditate. It's just not going to freaking happen.
I don't think that it's about the crickets. The concept is a better life lived with technology.
The concept is garbage as well. So here's the thing.
Light, your type of light is important.
I get it. And medically, you're right. Now, how many biophilia rooms have you built? Because you have a very good company. So I consider you to be very successful.
No, I don't say that they're biophilia. I would just say that they're rooms that so whether you take that name or not, it's about having a better experience with technology. And that should include things like, I'm going to have dimmer lights on in the morning and brighter lights on during the day. We've all been in that restaurant where the LEDs are so cheap you can see your hands move.
My favorite.
Right, I get it. What I'm asking you is, and this is the discussion that I've had with several integrators. It's a painful admission to make. They spent a lot of money marketing and convinced just the right people in our industry to talk about it, and it has fallen flat on its face. I'm talking.
You're throwing out the article. You wanted to say what you think is important.
Yeah, the article was interesting to me. Yes, I'm throwing that out because honestly, in the stuff that happens at CES most of it doesn't apply to our industry. We're custom industry.
To come out of it. So if we look at if we're doing technology to make people's life better, shades, lights, audio, video, there's some things that are out there to make either that or the world a better place. Like the idea of Samsung came out with a remote that's solar powered. Do we really is it hard to change batteries? No, but is it better long-term for the world? Yes.
So let me ask you guys, hold on. Let me ask you guys this then. If CES is not a big deal for our industry, and I'm not debating necessarily that it is, but I would argue that the marketing power behind it, had CES not, 3 years ago, pushed 4K like crazy, would you have had an easier time or a harder time going to sell 4K to a client down the road?
I don't think it would have made a bit of difference.
See, and I think you're wrong, because I feel that the power of CES, and again, whether it's a hit or a miss, is that they have such a strong following, typically, in national press, in general consumers who are enthusiastic about technology.
And it's the only platform for these other places too, right? So it's the only platform for something like biomilk. to come out and get some press to get out what that is, that you can take a breast milk and send it to a place and they can create a formula. Did you see that one? They can create a formula like that's perfectly tuned to your, I'm just saying, like, that is a better life thing. That is.
Sure.
Is it?
Yes, for babies.
Maybe. We don't know the long-term effects of that.
We don't, but conceptually for all of these products that are introduced or conceptualized there, it's a platform to get out to the public for them to talk about it. And of course, the ones that aren't going to sell are the ones they talk about the most. Last year, it was the robot that folded laundry that took 17 hours to do that. Like, we're not going to see that in our home, but conceptually, like, it's a platform to talk about how cool technology can be. And in the trickle down of that, they talk about TVs, which is good. They talk about some audio stuff, which is good. Gaming's big.
So let me tell you why I don't think it would have made a difference to my clientele. Curved TVs. Curved TVs were all the thing at CES. You had to have it. Best Buy, every person that worked at Best Buy swore and will still swear that curved TVs are amazing. Curved TVs were an engineering problem fixed by marketing. It was always an engineering problem fixed by marketing. I talked to the people at the engineer at Samsung that was working on it whenever they decided to drop it. It was an engineering problem fixed by marketing. I have never once sold a curved TV to a client. I have had.
I don't think I have either. I would hear many of them the other way.
Yeah. So I've had clients ask me about curved TVs, but our job is to steer our clients away from garbage technology.
You said you proved my point right there, though. You had a bunch of clients who asked you about curved TVs. If it wasn't for CES and the power of CES, and again, I don't think it's necessarily well-placed power, but how many? Like
the government. Oh, sorry.
Oh gosh.
It's also a marketing company.
We're totally going to get flagged for this episode. All right, let's
episode ever.
Let's change topics completely.
This is the best episode.
It is.
Here.
I'm enjoying. All right, let's change topics. This story comes to us from Residential Systems. Just Add Power's path to Dante. In this article, Just Add Power, and specifically one of our good friends over there, Mr. Taft Strickland, talks about what happened and what grew and caused Just Add Power to get into a relationship with Audinate, who is the governing body over Dante. One of the really, really cool things about this is not just the Dante aspect, but the fact that most Dante products you see out there, specifically because Dante comes out of the Pro AV space, it's 2-channel and only 2-channel. And heck, half of the dongles you can get for Dante are single channel. It's a single XLR. But this cool new chip that Just Add Power has with Dante has 8 channels of audio, which is fantastic and gives a lot of flexibility. Heather, let me start with you on this. Dante is something that you and I have talked about for a couple of years, but we've known about for quite a few years because we both do a lot of work in pro and commercial, where Dante is really, especially in the pro world, Dante is taking over.
Agreed.
I could not tell you the last time I sold a traditional analog audio snake. We just sell Dante snakes. That's all it is.
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. It's a single cable. It's fantastic. In the residential space, Taft and Just Add Power are making a real strong move, getting an 8-channel chipset. But what is, even with those advances, what is going to hold back Dante? Is it integrators not understanding it and not willing to change and go down that route?
That never happens.
Never. Or is it the still limited number of manufacturers? I don't know of a single, and you or Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know of a single AVR manufacturer that is embedding Dante, which if they did, that would be amazing.
Not that you can get an AVR these days anyway.
You can't buy one, but if you could.
But if you could.
And you could get it with Dante.
The answer is C, all the above. It's just, it's new. It's new and it's starting. And it's just like Infocom probably years ago when you were in the pro, I was on commercial. And I didn't know, Matt, what is this Dante thing? Like, what? Like, let me explain to you. I think it's going to be the same thing for the Resi world. It's going to be a trickle down or trickle over. But we see a lot of that, right? So at CES, someone talked about like, hey, did you see there's a transparent screen? I'm like, I saw that in 2019 InfoComm.
Yeah.
They had those transparent screens. So that's like old news to me, but brand new to them. Same concept.
Very good. Stephen, Dante is still making inroads. The fact that Taft and the JAP team have brought this together is fantastic for them. It'll be fantastic. I haven't played with one yet, but I can't wait to. It's going to be really, really cool. But same thing. As an integrator, do you hesitate to spec Dante or use Dante because of, is it a skill set situation? Is it an unfamiliarity issue? Or is it just that, hey, our favorite brand of speakers don't use Dante?
Dante is an amazing technology, and I really love the fact that Just Add Power jumped on top of it and advanced it. I see nothing wrong with that. The problem is that it's a one-trick pony right now. So you've got one company doing it and doing it well. I think Alon, and don't quote me on this, but I think Alon's doing Dante. It's either Dante or AVB, but I think it's Dante.
I believe it's Dante.
Yeah. So yeah, look at Heather's face. She's like, where are my Control 4 people? What the hell? So, but Alon is doing Dante on yeah. So Alon is doing Dante, and Alon's doing a lot of amazing things that kind of came out of nowhere the last 2 years. But the what I will say is that I think it's an amazing technology to bring over. It's the perfect crossover technology. The problem is that there's so few people doing it right now that until it gets a little wider adoption, which is kind of a self-serving prophecy, nobody's going to use it until everybody uses it, but everybody's not going to use it. So it's, I fear that it may not go that far. I think that it may go further for commercial applications for Just Add Power.
But don't you think that but Dante is not proprietary, and correct me if I'm wrong.
It's not.
Isn't the whole cool part about Dante is
it
on
works
the
with anything.
pro side, you can get Dante in anyone's equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The same concept, right? So as more and more of these manufacturers pick it up, that's what will eventually push it forward.
See, and I agree with you 100%. I think the issue is, and I hate this because I hear this all the time, but our customers, our side of the industry is kind of a small percentage of most companies' sales. So my concern is that we're going to be screaming, we need Dante, and Sony, Marantz, Yamaha, whatever your given receiver is, even audio control, they're going to look at it and go, you want us to spend all this money to integrate a feature that only pros are going to use? Like, their consumer base is never going to use that. Best Buy people are never going to use that. So that it's a hard sell for the manufacturer. I would love it. Just like I think
that we could push that. If maybe we should just all talk about it, because look at like Yamaha's Avantage, right? The idea is you're selling a better one out there, or Sony ES, like that would be so much better. Like how many icons do you have on the bottom of your AVRs these days?
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I want to point something out. 4-port switch in an AVR receiver was one of the greatest ideas I'd ever seen. It was an amazing idea. And it lasted 2 or 3 years, and it was gone. Mm-hmm. Because most of the people using that were us, because other people would set their Apple TV right on top of the receiver and then use it on Wi-Fi. So that's the
same thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
For people who can't see this on video.
So here's my thing. I think it's I really love the guys at Just Add Power. They have always been on the cutting edge of what they're doing. There are people that say yada yada does it better, yada does it, but honestly, the advances that they've made in rotating images, resizing images, digital signage applications are just amazing. So I think it's a great technology for them on the commercial side. I just don't know. And Heather, I'm with you. If you want to start, I've got to pick it and we'll put some signs up and we'll march around. I mean, people are,
I am not joining the protest these days. Nice try. We can do a quiet, respectable,
peaceful,
maybe Canadian-ish.
I'll go to Canada to do it.
Yeah, we'll do a Canadian-ish request to be heard. Dang it.
Would we have to apologize for the protest after we finish that?
Oh, and during. No, you have to take breaks. It's mandated.
That's right.
Every 5 minutes, you must take a break to apologize for asking so strongly for AVB.
I can't protest with you Canadians, man. Y'all put gravy on French fries, and
it's amazing, and you've missed it.
The greatest thing ever.
I know. I got to get him up here sometime, but he
Let's
gets
be
too
honest.
cold.
There's no way they're letting Georgia into Canada.
No chance. So just before we go, let me ask you both this, because this is my opinion on Dante, is that it's not so much a product situation, even though we need more products. Don't misunderstand. It is a knowledge base. We do not have enough integrators in the residential space who understand or are comfortable to use Dante, because I still see ridiculous questions all over every forum I'm in. I've got to get audio to an outbuilding 500 miles away, and I'm pretty sure my 14 gauge speaker wire won't do it, because they just don't know. Because there are many ways to get in and out of Dante and utilize it to get around the building or around the facility or around the property, and then break it out into everything else that you already use.
But 5 years ago or so, they're doing the same game with HDMI, right? So
true.
there was a time that HDMI, you're like, I have to get it 50 feet. Oh wait, it's not working right. But I bought this cable. It was $39.99 from Best Buy, right? Before extenders and all that.
50-foot cable was never $39.99 at Best Buy.
Maybe at Monoprice.
Monoprice.
But yeah, so I think that, and at some point we all had to understand what was a balun and what was an extender, how does it work? And there's still conversations about that. Now it's 4K and to make sure that it's the right ... So I think that it would force it if there's a need for it.
So I love the passion that you have, Matt, for this Dante thing. And honestly, it's the same passion that I have for, I'm a video snob. A lot of people just turn the TV on and it looks great. I am actually a calibrator. So when I look at audio and when I look at video and I listen to audio, I am totally that guy. I'm a total snob about it. It has to be perfect. And so I'll go off on these tangents too, but then you have to pull yourself in and ask yourself, is there a mass market application? The answer in commercial is yes. Residential, I don't know. And I think there is, because if there wasn't, a company as big as Legrand, which I think owns Alon, would not have jumped on top of that technology and used it. However, I'm waiting to see what happens. And just for the record, there have been a few times in life where I've pulled myself back. I don't always speak my mind while everybody on the podcast laughs at me right now. I love you guys.
That's the quote of the day. All right. Well, let's wrap it there. Thank you both for joining us. Heather, if people want to connect with you, learn more about Southtown AV, where can they do that?
Our company website is South, SOUTH, Town, TOWN, A as in Apple, V as in Victor.com. You can find me playing or complaining or all sorts of fun stuff on Twitter. Tech_chi, CHI, as in a balance between life and technology.
Almost like wellness. Look at that.
Almost like wellness. Like
I feel like you were on it first.
I was on it first.
All right. Thank you so much, my friend. Mr. Bronner, if people want to connect with you, follow your rantings and ravings about college football, where can they do that? And also find Pro Audio Georgia.
You can find me at proaudiogeorgia.com, proaudioga.com. You can find me at proaudio_GA on Twitter. I would spell it, but I can't spell. So you guys look me up. I'm easy to find. I look forward to hearing. I hear from integrators all the time from all over the world. I absolutely love talking to other integrators. So give me a shout. and we can talk about my crazy opinions.
I never said that. Thank you both for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter at Matt D. Scott and pretty much every other social platform. But more importantly, please visit AVNation.tv, where you'll find this show, as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our supporters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you check them out as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.